Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2023-24 season. My name is Dan, and yesterday we uploaded a video looking at the data and trends from 100 expert drafts. Now, you guys liked that video so much, I said I would do a part 2 if you hit the like target, which you did. So today we are going to be focusing more on building a team using that data. So I hope you're going to like this one. If you do, please do drop a like. Do subscribe if you are new around here. We're going to be doing this series every single week, every single game week, looking at expert data and trends. So I think you're going to like that one. Let's crack on. So here are the 100 FPL experts, pundits and content creators that helped me out with this data yesterday. We're going to be using their data again today. If you haven't checked out yesterday's video, I really would recommend it. But if you haven't watched it yet, that's absolutely fine as well. We will try and do little recaps as we go through. So we want to build a team using the data that we received from the experts. To build the ultimate experts team, well, we need to pick a formation first. And 76% of our experts went for the 3-5-2 formation. So I feel like that's a really good place to start. We also had some key decisions to make, and particularly on this right hand side column here, the number of premiums, 1. So we want to go for 1 premium player in our expert team. In terms of money on the bench, we only want 1 player that costs any money on the bench. All of the other players on the bench should cost the minimum amount of money possible. And of course, we will not be using rotating goalkeepers. We will be picking 1 goalkeeper who is worth money, and the other goalkeeper is just going to be a 4 million goalkeeper for who is just going to sit on the bench for the most part. So let's get building. So we are going to be using all of the money, 100 million, to build this team, which I think is pretty fun. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going player by player, and we're going to be starting with the most popular expert picks and then going through to the less popular ones as we build this team. So the players that we speak about first in this video are basically the players that are pretty much essential. All of our experts kind of agree unanimously that they are amazing FPL picks. And when all of our experts agree on a pick, it's probably because they're a really, really important player to have in your team. So as such, we are going to start off with Erling Haaland, 99% owned. So he's obviously going to be a really, really important player to own. You guys know why. He's the best FPL asset in the game. He's the most expensive player for a reason. He's going to score loads of goals and he has amazing fixtures, and you're probably going to captain him pretty much every game week as well. So let's move on from that one and go to Saka next, because Saka was owned by 90% of our 100 experts, which is a really, really significant number. 9 out of 10 experts will have Saka in their team. So that's a strong indication that we all need to have Saka as well. Obviously on penalties, nailed on for Arsenal. Arsenal have some really nice fixtures, particularly Nottingham Forest and Fulham look really good from an attacking point of view. And Arsenal just carry some really nice fixtures all the way through to sort of game week 8, 9. And that's really good because it means you can just keep your Arsenal players for the long term. You don't have to worry about transferring them out or anything like that. You can focus your transfers on the rest of your team, knowing that you have those solid, safe and sensible Arsenal players, particularly attackers, in your team. Moving to the next player is going to be Perfect Gameweek. So he was in 85% of teams. So again, another strong trend here. He is the most popular defender in FPL for a very, very good reason. We all kind of agree that Perfect Gameweek is a very good FPL pick. We love that fixture against Luton, and after that, Wolves and West Ham, not too bad either. Stupinian has good opportunities to get attacking returns, did really, really well in that regard second half of last season. We're expecting some more things like that from him this season. Another player who is nailed on, which is difficult to find in this very, very deep Brighton squad. So we like a Stupinian. He makes the cut. Next up, we are actually going to go for Gabriel. So another defender here, 81% owned. We've spoken a lot now about why Gabriel is a much better pick than Saliba. Gabriel offers a lot more attacking threat and costs the same amount of money. And when they're both on the pitch, Saliba and Gabriel together, typically Gabriel is going to score you a few more points, whether that's through attacking returns or bonus points. And we've got some really nice opportunities in the opening 3 fixtures to get kind of goals from corners, because that is these kind of teams are quite weak from those set pieces, so Gabriel can take advantage of that one. He dominates in terms of Arsenal's set piece, kind of being on the end of those set pieces, so that's really, really nice indeed. We've got to move on to another player though, and that is actually going to be Chilwell. It's going to be Ben Chilwell. So 74%. So that actually completes our defense now. Completes our 3-man defense. And we now have 5 players. We have 5 players on the pitch. All of these really, really popular players among experts. And I feel like from here on, we can maybe start to tinker a little bit. I would basically, guys, I would say if you're looking to build a team that is going to be competitive with the top expert FPL managers, you need to follow their trends to a certain degree. And that that's kind of where we're at now. These are the players that our experts think are essential. Obviously, Chilwell is super attacking. He seems to be really, really far forward a lot of the time in pre-season under this Pochettino Chelsea side. So they seem to be a left side dominance. Chilwell playing essentially as a left winger for Chelsea, whereas Reece James on the other side actually going to be a little bit more defensive. So not so good, Reece James. And obviously our experts have identified Chilwell as a player who's going to be getting clean sheets and attacking returns in a revitalised Chelsea team on corners as well, which is going to be useful. Maybe some free kicks as well for Chilwell. There's lots of avenues and opportunities for him to get points. He's going to be one of those unicorn defenders who is capable of getting those 12 pointers, those 15 pointers in FPL, which are really, really so amazing when they come through in a game week. So 74% own Chilwell. After that, we need to talk Manchester United. So Bruno Fernandes, 73% owned there, and Marcus Rashford, 71% owned. Now, I would definitely recommend you have one of these two players. Almost all of our experts had at least one of Fernandes and Rashford. Fernandes is the slight preferred player, so if you only want one Manchester United midfielder, Fernandes would be the choice there. He's expected to do really well this season with Højlund now the striker in front of him, which means he's going to get more assists there. And Fernandes actually really underperformed last season. He didn't really get a chance to take many penalties either. So we're expecting from his data last season, it does suggest that he's going to do much better this season. And that is despite the fact he's actually a lot cheaper this season than he was last season. So if you are thinking that Man United are going to do well, Fernandes is probably a great solution for you. Rashford, certainly not a bad pick either. So he's at 71% owned. Now, at this point, I would definitely say every player after this is at 63% owned among experts or below. There is definitely opportunity to go different from here on if you want to. This is from this base, this is where I would start to say, okay, I personally would want to have all of these players. We've got a few slots left. We've got just 4 slots left. Where can we go with this one? Well, I'm going to fill in the gaps with our experts' choice, but these players are not as unanimously owned as the first kind of players we've spoken about today. So first of all, we're going to put Martinelli in here at 63%. I don't think he's essential, but 63% suggests that he's definitely a good player to own. Definitely a good player to own according to experts. Obviously, Arsenal's primary goal-scoring threat in that team, expected to score some goals and should be on for some more game time now that Jesus is out as well. So that's looking pretty good. I know he didn't play great in the Community Shield yesterday, but he was against Kyle Walker, which is a very difficult opponent for him, but should do very well in the Premier League. We're expecting big things from him. So a good pick, but not an essential pick. If you did want to take this opportunity to go for a slightly different 8 million or 7.5 million midfielder, now is kind of your opportunity. Going down even further, and it is Onana in goal at 58%. So again, he is the most popular expert goalkeeper pick. In fact, if you looked at any expert kind of FPL manager, over half of them will have Onana as their goalkeeper, but it is not unanimous. So again, if you want to go for someone slightly different, you can. We will have a look at some other options momentarily. Then next up, we have got Ollie Watkins, and here we are at under 50%. We're now at 40% for Ollie Watkins among our experts. So at this point, we are saying this is a pick that our experts can't agree on. They can't agree on who is the best striker to partner with Erling Haaland. There's really no, well-accepted answer to this one. So yes, he is the most popular choice, but he is not a player you have to have. But should do pretty well. Aston Villa are expected to do well this season. He'll be hopefully on penalties as well, and should, again, in general, be the main goal-scoring threat in this Aston Villa side, which leaves one more slot, and that is our 6.5 million midfielder that we're going to throw in here, and it is right now, it's going to be Kaoru Mitoma. He is the most popular 6.5 million midfielder among experts, but this one is not unanimous at all. There is a lot of disagreement about this one, so another player, another opportunity to go something a little bit different. Having a look at some of the most popular bench options, we need one goalkeeper and we need 2 defenders and we need a forward. Now, we do have to have one defender with some money. So actually, we need one 4 million defender, and then we're going to spend a little bit of money on our second defender, but we're going to go super cheap on the goalkeeper and the forward. So let's do that using the most popular picks here. and bringing up the bench, where you can see we've got Areola, Bulldog, and Mubama from that page. We've also got Rico Henry, who is 20% owned. He's the most popular 4.5 million defender of the lot. So what we have now finally completed is the 15 most popular expert players to pick. We need to pick a captain, and looking through the numbers, again, this is unanimous. Erling Haaland, by far the best captain choice among our experts. 93% agree. That is a unanimous decision, pretty much, so we can go ahead and put the captain's armband on Erling Haaland, and we've got a vice captain in Saka, who comes in at 4% there as well. So let's throw those on, and we have our team. We have our team. This is well, it's the expert template. This is the team whereby you can basically say, if you pick this team, you have got all of the top FPL managers' favorite picks all in one team. So yeah, this team is pretty much the best team you can have, according to a huge data set. Like, there's so much evidence to suggest that this is just the ultimate team to go for. But there are opportunities to do something a little bit different. Like I said, Mitoma, Watkins, Onana, players like this, they are not unanimous. So there is some opportunity to go a little bit different. I would personally, if this is me, and this is kind of how I often build my FPL teams, is I try and look at this as a base. And particularly with the percentages, it can help us kind of identify players that we can maybe afford to exchange for some differentials or players that we have a good gut feeling about. So we take the most popular picks, we pick them, because 100 experts all agreeing on something is a really, really, really good symbol, really good sign. And those players slightly lower owned, we can start thinking about swapping them out for some different players. But what kind of different players might you go for? Well, the experts have answers to that one as well. So once again, just going through the most popular players among the top 100, you can see all of the players towards the top left-hand side of the screen are going to be the really popular players who are in this squad. But if we go slightly lower down the list, we start to look at the 50% owned down to maybe 10% owned. I think that range of players, anything between 50% and 10%, might not necessarily be in everyone's team, but there is enough of a strong trend among our experts to suggest that these are really good picks as well. There is nothing wrong with these picks. So guys, if you ask me, what do you think about such and such player? Well, if they are above rank on this kind of page, if they're above rank maybe 30 or 40, then they are probably going to be a really strong, really solid pick. So I would definitely say, yeah, go for that player. If you feel like you want to go for that player, absolutely go for it. They're in a good kind of area for this. Now, the players slightly lower down the list, there's maybe not so much of strong trends to suggest we should pick them. If only one expert is going for this player, of a certain player, it doesn't really give us enough information to actually say, is this one person just a little bit crazy, or is there an agreement where, well, there's no agreement there. So yeah, definitely anyone above 30 or 40 on this list, I would be looking to maybe add in as a little bit of spice into your team. So let's have a look at that in a bit closer detail and where we can kind of enter in these players. So we know which players are kind of lower owned among our experts. So let's throw on some alternatives on screen right now. So you can see Onana, we have got the likes of Pickford and Johnston as alternative 4.5 million goalkeepers. So if you wanted to go a little bit cheaper or leave a little bit of money in the bank, that's absolutely fine. You can do so by going for Pickford and Johnston. They seem to be the most popular 4.5 million goalkeepers. More details on goalkeepers, of course, in yesterday's video if you haven't seen that already. In defense, we have got Stones here, 50% owned actually. So Stones actually really unlucky not to sneak into the expert template. He was owned by half of our expert managers, and that's kind of more than the likes of Mitoma, more than the likes of Watkins as well. But because of the expert formation choice, it's actually kind of difficult to get John Stones in here. And actually, there were a lot of experts that were using Chilwell and Stones. So they'd maybe start with Chilwell on the bench in game week 1, and then have Stones starting, and then look to bring in Chilwell for game week 3, 4 when Chelsea's fixtures start to look a little bit better. And I have got an example of a team that does exactly that I'm going to show you very shortly. So that is another way of getting Stones into this team without compromising your Estupiñán, Gabriel and Chilwell. Really nice trio of defenders there. In midfield, we could go for Foden potentially instead of Martinelli. 34% ownership among experts. That's a really, really strong number. So suggests that he is still a very, very good pick. And maybe one of the top differentials to go for. And of course, we've got the 6.5 million midfielders that no one can seem to agree of. And Mbumo comes in at 30%, Eze comes in at 21%. So 100% definitely, that is probably the first place you look in terms of trying to differentiate your team from other people. Yes, fair enough. Go template, use the template as a starting point, but when you look at the likes of Mitoma, only 32% owned among experts, and you see Mbumo is only 2% behind at 30%, there's basically nothing in that. You know, if I was to ask a different set of 100 experts, we might actually see Mbumo with slightly more ownership than Mitoma. It is so close between those two players. Of course, Eze is there and thereabouts at 21%, so definitely should not be ignored. If you'd like the look of him, go for him. And of course, we have got the forward position, which is another controversial kind of position that there is not too much agreement on, with Jackson Martinez at 21%. He's down at 7 million, so that frees up a little bit of money to maybe spend elsewhere. If you downgraded Watkins to Jackson, for example, you could actually afford to upgrade Mitoma up to a Foden, who is actually technically has slightly higher ownership among experts than Mitoma, because he's at 34% rather than 32%. So that's a pretty good option. We've got Darwin Nunez there at 16% as well. I know a lot of people didn't really like the look of that shout, but look, I'm not going to argue with our experts. If that many of our experts are agreeing that Darwin is a good pick, then I'm happy to believe them. And I do think he is definitely a dangerous player who could do some real damage. But obviously there's a little bit of risk there. And I understand not all of you guys are going to be risk-taking managers. Some of you guys are going to prefer to play things a little bit more safe, and that's fine too. But I feel like with these alternatives offered on screen, you could basically create any super team you like. Go with those super high-owned players kind of towards the left of the screen here. But the players on the right who are slightly lower owned among experts, those are your opportunities to do something a little bit different, and these potential alternatives really do give yourselves an opportunity to just slightly differentiate yourself from the crowd. Now, we've had a look at this team. I do want to have a look at and see how this team is rated in the AI, and I do want to share with you a couple of my favorite teams among the experts, including some that you have been asking me to talk about. So we are on Fantasy Football Hub's My Team tool. Of course, we are still offering a 50% discount on Fantasy Football Hub subscriptions, at least until the Game Week 1 deadline. But the deal you cannot miss out on before the deadline is their money back kind of deal. So if you sign up to Fantasy Football Hub before the Game Week 1 deadline and you do not win your mini league this year, they will give you your money back. They are that confident that you will win your mini league using these tools, these expert tools used by the experts, that they will give you your money back if you don't succeed using these tools. So definitely, if you haven't got your Fantasy Football Hub subscription sorted yet, and you fancy yourself as a bit of an expert, a bit of a pro at FPL Manager, or you want to be there, then what are you waiting for? There is not much time left. But this is their My Team tool, and it gives you a AI rating. It uses machine learning to look at the numbers of all of the players, all of the teams, all of the oppositions, and work out how well is this team going to do. And the expert template, no surprise here, is super high rated. So 98% rating. That is a really, really, really high one. We don't see too many teams 98% rated. And you guys, when you try this tool out for yourself, you will probably see that, yeah, your team is probably not going to be quite this high, because this really is the combination of 100 FPL expert brains coming into one and agreeing on a team that they think is going to do amazing. So there's no surprise here that we've got a good team rating. So 98%, this is a really, really strong team for the season. And just going with the super template team, I think it's absolutely fine. Maybe some people will say it's a little bit boring, and that's fair enough too, but it works. This team definitely works. I've got some other examples for you though, guys. All right, I want to show you the No Haaland team. You guys were commenting on yesterday's video. Who is this guy who is going without Erling Haaland? What does his team look like? Well, I'll tell you who the guy is. His name is Kieran, and I've actually met him not so long ago. I met him a couple of months ago at an FPL meetup, and yes, he is a little bit of a crazy guy, just like his crazy team. So here we have it in front of you, and actually, in general, it doesn't look too bad. It does have a lot of the other big hitters, you know, a lot like the likes of Stones, Gabriel, Chilwell. It doesn't have Purvis Estupiñán either, which is another slightly crazy decision maybe. In fact, there's not really too much Brighton in here, only João Pedro as the forward, but it does have the likes of Salah and Darwin in there for the double Liverpool attack. It's got Bruno Fernandes in there. We've still got Saka and Martinelli. We've got Richarlison there as well, who could potentially be a good pick if Kane leaves the Premier League, but if Kane stays, then I would imagine that Kieran removes Richarlison from his team. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Interestingly, this team also has Nkunku on the bench and 2 million in the bank. So there is going to be an opportunity here to go for Erling Haaland at some stage. And that's exactly what he has been saying on Twitter. I'll link his Twitter account in the video description if you want to go check him out for yourself. But he's basically saying, I don't really think Erling Haaland is going to score too many points in the opening couple of game weeks, so I will be looking to bring him in at a slightly later date. Won't be looking to captain him in the opening game week, so I'm not going to have him. And that's basically what he's been saying on Twitter recently. So you can take that how you want. Look, all of our experts have slightly different ways of thinking. There are different play styles, and that's absolutely fine. But this is what he is going for game week 1 as things currently stand. Maybe a few tweaks with the Kane news, or lack of news, maybe we should say. And Nkunku, he is injured right now, but I imagine he comes in for game week 2 when he is available. I wanted to pick out this team from Tin Pot FPL, who has made a Salah draft, a team with Salah and Haaland that I actually really like. So I thought we would try and find an example of a good team that includes Salah, because I know a lot of you guys are dead set on owning Salah for this season, and our expert template doesn't really fit Salah in. So let's see what we can do with Salah, and you can do quite well, actually. You can still have a lot of the key players if you want to. You do have to make some compromises and some sacrifices somewhere. For example, we've got two 6.5 million midfielders there, and Jackson is only 7 million as the forward there as well, and there's no money on the bench there either. But I do actually really like this team. Out of all of the teams with Salah in, all of the Salah teams that I saw among our 100 experts, this team was my favorite. This one stuck out to me, so I thought I would share it with you. It's a 96% rated team as well, so another very highly rated team. The artificial intelligence, the machine learning likes this team, so I think it was worth sharing with you guys, just in case you wanted to go for a Salah team and wanted to work off a slightly different template. I would be going for something a little bit like this personally if I was to go for Salah. And finally, we have this team. I mentioned earlier that a lot of our experts were actually starting the season with Chilwell on the bench and still maintaining, a good, solid defense. And that's exactly what this team has done. We've got Estupinian, Gabriel, and Stones to start off the season, and then they'll be looking to bring in Chilwell to their starting 11 slightly later. But by doing that, you have to make some sacrifice. So in this team, for example, Foden has been downgraded to Foden. Ordinarily, we might see a Bruno Fernandes in here, but it's been downgraded 1 million cheaper to a Foden instead of a Bruno Fernandes, and that's the way they have been able to afford to have Chilwell on the bench for a rainy day, I guess. So it's still a team that is very balanced. We've still got most of the general big hitters, the general expert recommended players, but we've managed to get Chilwell on the bench by making that one sacrifice of Bruno Fernandes. You could also sacrifice Rashford if you wanted to as well. You might even be able to squeeze a 8 million midfielder in there if you downgrade Onana to a 4.5. There is different options, but I do like this team. Just going through the game weeks, because obviously with this tool, you can look at future game weeks as well to help you plan for the future. So in game week 2, the team would look exactly the same. We'll have the same starting 11 for game week 2 here. So yeah, with Estupinian still in defence there alongside Stones and Gabriel. But come to game week 3, and Estupinian, when he plays against West Ham, he goes to the bench. Chilwell, who plays Luton in that game at home, 4.8 predicted points in that fixture, so he comes in and plays instead of Estupinian. Same situation in game week 4, Chilwell plays once again, and in game week 5, Chilwell plays once again. But after that, it does give us an opportunity to bring Estupinian back into the team, ready for his home game against Bournemouth. So you can have a little bit of rotation between Chilwell and Estupinian. Some people might say, okay, maybe it's worth just starting with Estupinian and then transferring Chilwell in at a later date. If you have 0.5 million in the bank, then that's absolutely going to be doable for you. But this is just another way of getting ahead of a transfer and having Chilwell, having a Chelsea asset ready to go, ready for when their fixtures turn really nice indeed. So this team is a 97% rated team, another super high rated team, and it allows you to have Chilwell, a little bit of money on the bench, but it's not too much money. It's not too bad, I guess, and we can look at benching the likes of Estupinian in certain games. But again, in general, I really like this team. Another team that I really like the look of alongside our, I guess, template team. And before we go on any further, I know this video is very long. I think we're going to stop it there. So there are some examples of the ultimate expert template team for you guys to work off of as a base team for you to maybe make the odd change to, and a couple of examples of some various different teams used by our experts as well. Of course, if you did enjoy this video, do drop a like. It really does help out the channel so much, and we will be returning with some more 100 experts video every single week to make sure we keep up to date with what they're up to. So make sure you are subscribed if you are interested interested in watching those each week to help you guys follow the trends of the experts as we kind of try and traverse another difficult season of FPL. Of course, don't forget to check out Fantasy Football Hub. The link is at the top of the description for you to get the 50% offer. Check it out. All of our experts, or a lot of our experts at least, are using these tools every day to make sure they get the best results, and you can do that for yourselves too. But aside from that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out that video right there. But aside from that, thanks so much for watching once again, and I will see you later, mates. Bye.